Hi guys, can you hear me? Can someone say if they can hear me? Is that a thumbs up I can see? Can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me? It's working, yeah? All right, lovely. So, guys, I'm excited to have you lot join me today for my first live. I'd like to thank everyone for your tremendous responses, particularly after the last few videos since I got back from my hiatus. As I said, or as I promised, we are going to be talking about my journey, my twin pregnancy, postpartum. I'm currently 5 weeks postpartum today. So any questions you have regarding the delivery, regarding the recovery, the process, anything along those lines, even my trip to the Maldives, if you want to know anything about that, I'm all ears and I'm ready to answer your questions. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's fire away. First question came from Pearl Akia. She's asking what my baby's names are. It's slightly on a private side as at now. We're waiting for a date so we can name the kids, dedicate them to God, and obviously sanctify the names. So when that happens officially, you will know what the baby's names are. Thanks for asking. Martina, congratulations on the twins. Thank you, Martina. I appreciate your well wishes. Hillary's got a question on ministry, which is slightly outside of what we are doing today. And she's asked a question saying she wants to know how life has been like as a pastor's wife. Simply put, Hillary, a whirlwind. Okay, there's so many facets to it. Not so much just being a pastor's wife, but juggling that with being a wife, being a mother now to 4 kids, being a teacher, a daughter, a sister to many people, so many different facets of my life. And I think that will be addressed in another video or possibly another live. Okay. Amel's asking, how are you coping with 4 kids? It's a madness, guys. That's the truth. I'm currently team no sleep, but we move. It's been amazing, though. It's just a blessing having those 2 bundles added to my older 2 kids. I wouldn't have it any other way, but it's very tiring. I currently sleep about 2 hours every day, but we're managing. Ayola says, how has the transition been going from 2 to 4 children? It's been a shock. It's definitely going to take getting used to. I have situations where both kids are crying at the same time, the twins, and you pick one up and then you have to pick the other one up, and then balancing that, maybe feeding one and then trying to use props to keep up the bottle and then trying to feed the other one at the same time. I've had one situation where I've had to breastfeed them both at the same time. So it's been quite exotic. What did delivery feel like? I think with the C-section, it's a bit different. It was my first time, obviously, because I had the older 2 via natural delivery. You're on this butcher's table, as I like to call it. You're very numb initially. You don't really feel anything. It only feels like tugging and someone pulling at the skin, but you don't actually feel pain. But the real pains after like the first 2 days, when the anesthetics worn off, you feel like you've been hit by a bus. That's how I can describe it. Elizabeth says, how did it feel like carrying twins compared to carrying one child? And how has it been juggling 4 children? Which is a question that's come before. I'm going to answer the first bit. It says, how did it feel like carrying twins compared to one child? It was a lot more demanding on my body. As I mentioned in the video that I released this week, it's one of the reasons why I didn't go to work during this season. I've been teaching for close to 6 years now, but when I found out that I was carrying twins, I decided not to go back to work after the summer holidays, purely because the symptoms that I was experiencing was a lot more. I had a lot more sickness. I couldn't do well. I wasn't doing well with particular scents and stuff. I'd just have to smell the food and then I'll be in the toilet puking. So that was really hard. I also suffered from anemia, which I've had even from the first pregnancy. And it got quite severe because obviously you're carrying a double. So in terms of blood volumes and stuff, it gets mad. I'm always tired, always sleeping. There's no way I could be in a classroom teaching and then falling asleep. So we decided to stay off work. So in terms of how it was on my body, it definitely took its toll. I think getting towards the end stage of the pregnancy is when it was most difficult. I couldn't sleep, I couldn't stand up, I couldn't sit down. It was manic. And then, the whole thing where you feel 4 feet and 4 hands. Yeah, that was crazy. I wasn't used to that. I was usually used to feeling 2 feet and 2 hands. So having the double, I think, definitely had its toll. Queen of Hearts. What are the twins' name? I've addressed that already. We will find out what the names are after we have dedicated them at church. Someone says, Betty says, you mentioned you're not working anymore. Do you plan to go back into teaching? Yes and no. Currently speaking, it's not realistic because I have 3 kids under the age of 3. So looking at sort of daycare would be like a lot of money. And it wouldn't be worth it, comparing it to going back to work and how much I earn. It's not worth doing that. Maybe in future, possibly when they're all of school age and then I can, sod them off into school, possibly I will go back into teaching. I love teaching. That's what I was born to do. Frederica asked, did you feel scared when the little girl was struggling to breathe or when they had to press the emergency button? Guys, you do not understand the emotions that I was going through. My husband was trying to shield me, but I knew what was going on to some extent. I didn't know how bad it was until after the whole process. And he actually told me that her heart rate dropped so much she had to be resuscitated. Tears were streaming down my face. But at the time when it was happening, the anaesthetist was right next to me. He was rubbing my forehead and he was like, okay, in a second, the emergency bell's going to go on and you're going to see a flood of people in here. Don't panic. They've got everything under control. So I think that guy really did a good job to get me calm. But as I was on that table, I was just singing songs of praise to God because I went in with a peace in my heart that God had already won the victory and that I was going to return home with both my kids, not one of them, both of them. So as much as I couldn't hear her crying, I knew deep down inside me the faith level was so high, it was at its peak, that I was singing songs of praise, already claiming that that child was alive and was going to breathe. And that's what worked for me, guys. What was the best highlight of the Maldives trip? A couple of things. It's difficult to narrow it down to one. The weather was amazing, guys. That white sand on the beaches, I can't express to you. But I think the best bit was just obviously being with my husband and having some alone time after 2 kids at that stage. Obviously, that's the reason why people think that that's where we made the twins. But yeah. Good question. Ivy's asked, how are your other children dealing with having 2 extra siblings? They absolutely love and adore them. Tabitha's really playing her role as a big sister very well. She comes to check up on them. Yesterday night, actually, something interesting happened. I took the twins upstairs for bedtime and I came down to sterilize their bottle, sort it out and bring it upstairs. And I couldn't hear them crying. So Tabitha came to the steps and she was screaming, Mummy, the babies are crying. And she was crying. So she's really like bonded with them in a short space of time, and she obviously feels their pain when they're crying. I think that's really sweet. Talia's also doing really well. She's a proper mummy, that little child that I have. She wants to put the dummy in their mouth. She wants to hold the bottle when I'm feeding them. She's all over the place. But then I also feel like there's a bit of an element where she might feel a bit distant. Like she comes to me, she says, "Mummy, put the baby down and come downstairs with me." She talks like this. That's why I've changed my voice, guys. Which I think is really cute. So just being intentional and spending a lot more time with her. I think my husband's doing really well with that as well. Queen P is asking, how is the post C-section recovery process going? It's going really well. As I mentioned in the beginning, I think you guys couldn't hear me at that stage. I'm 5 weeks postpartum today. It's gone really smoothly, and I thank God for that. It was very, very painful. I'd say between the first week 1 and week 3, it was very painful. The most painful bit was turning over in bed when you're trying to get up from lying down. You could really feel like the muscles in that area tugging. It was an excruciating pain. By the time I've got out of bed, I've got tears all over my face. As at now, it feels a lot better. I'm very mobile. I'm on my feet. You know, mother of 4, you can't be in bed all day. You've got to get on with it. The only bit that I don't like at the moment is where the incision site is. It's quite itchy. So I've got to always like refrain from scratching the area. But yeah, overall recovery process is good. So someone's asking, am I alone or Richard has the camera? Guys, IMFL, there is an entire team. Richard isn't holding the camera, otherwise by now my head will be tilted from left to right. The camera is actually on a tripod. How has it been juggling 4 children? I think that question's come a couple of times. What did delivery feel like? What was the process like? It was quite smooth, glory to God, as I've mentioned. It's the aftermath. Pearl's asking, how's my prayer life? If I'm honest, it's a bit on a back burner. I shouldn't say that, but that's the truth. When you've got 2 extra kids on top of 2 that you had already, things do get shifted. So even as we speak, we've got a board here, or I've got a board here, where we're trying to plan everything and put a scheduler in place for the older 2, especially now with the whole COVID stuff. They're at home. So homeschooling, devotion with the family, twins, getting them into a schedule, and so on. So it's not as good as I would like it to be. However, it's there. Okay, it's there. We can't live without praying, especially during this season. We're praying for God's protection over our family and our children. Someone says, you're glowing, my dear. Thank you, Ivy. What was your pregnancy cravings? In the first 5 months, I didn't have any cravings. I couldn't stand food. I couldn't stand the smell of fish frying, chicken frying, anything like that. So things that I usually liked, I got off it basically. The only thing I was actually able to eat was oats, believe it or not. So now I've completely come off oats. Just the sight of it puts me off. But then afterwards, I think when I got a bit better, I kind of went into trying to eat all the foods that I wish I could eat. So I was taking a lot of trips to Nando's. I was eating a lot of Chinese ribs and stuff like that. Guys, don't do this at home. It's not good. How do you edit your videos? They're such high quality. I'm so willing to learn. Thank you, Frederica, for that. How do I edit my videos? Oh, it's a long story. My brother, he's called Elements. He's behind the scenes. My husband, Richard Radiant Kwachi, those 2 people are my dream team, guys. Richard actually said that he wanted to be fired yesterday and that working for me was horrible. He didn't mean that, guys. He hasn't got a choice. He's a husband, so he's got to do it. Megan, do you anticipate any major differences with raising a boy? Well, actually, guys, I plan to spoil him rotten because he is my only son and he's a son that we prayed for. And obviously I've got my little girl who happens to be the last born, if that even makes sense, because they're twins, but the boy was born first. So yeah, just any differences. I think Pastor will be quite harsh on him because he's the only boy. He will pattern him. So then we've got to strike that balance. So I'll spoil him, and then Richard will pattern him, and then he should come out fine. Someone's asking a question. Would you return to Israel if I had the chance? Yes, I would. Israel was amazing, guys. Amazing. One of the best holidays I've ever been to, and it's definitely worth the money. Oh gosh, Annabelle, do I want to have more children? N to the no to the capital. No. Definitely not. I'm thinking of getting my tubes tied, guys. Like, seriously, I'm not having any more kids. I cannot have any more kids. Thank you. Hillary's laughing. Thank you. Z's laughing. Emel's asking, did I always want 4 kids? All right. Funny enough, guys. I actually did always want 4 kids. It's strange, right? When I was in uni, obviously me and Richard were dating at the time, and when we used to have conversations about this, I used to say, I want 4 kids because I'm the 4th born, and if I don't have 4 kids, if my mum didn't have 4 kids, I wouldn't be here. So I want 4 kids. And then we discussed, and then we agreed on 3. So these twins, one was definitely a bonus. Let me put it that way. How do you balance commitments to church, being a wife, raising 4 children? The answer is I don't know. Honest to God, I don't know how I do it. So I can only attribute it to God. The strength that I get on a daily. Sometimes I go to bed thinking, oh God, please take me. I can't do this anymore. But I think God renews my strength daily. And that's why it's so key that God is just at the centerfold of everything that we do. If you rely on him, even when things get so tough, he gives you the strength and you're able to carry on another day. Would I ever consider homeschooling? Very good question. Yes, I would do. Obviously, right now it's like we don't have a choice. I am a teacher by profession. I teach chemistry, normal sciences from year 7 to 11, and then chemistry at A level. Homeschooling definitely has its pros. The only downside to homeschooling for me is the social aspect. It's important for me for my kids to be outside, be in an area where they can relate to others, be acquainted to how to deal with others. My daughter Tabitha, the oldest, she's 5, but she still struggles to share even with her younger sister. So I think that element is slightly taken away with homeschooling. Other than that, I'm definitely for homeschooling because it's one-to-one and you can pattern that child. Thank you. Someone's complimenting my brother, saying he's good to be on the team. Good. Elizabeth saying, was you happy that you chose UCLH as your hospital? Have you considered circumcision for your little man? Yes, UCLH was a very good hospital. I'm very happy that I did swap from that previous one because I wasn't really happy with their service. Although UCLH was far and Pastor used to take me on the train each time to get there, I think the specialists, especially the fetal medicine specialists there, definitely knew what they were doing. We had a good experience. Have I considered circumcision? Yes, it is definitely something that we will be doing after this COVID-19 stuff gets parked up. Then it will be safe to invite someone in to get our little boy circumcised. Martina, what day were the twins born? They were born, I believe, on a Wednesday. I say I believe because you go in on like a Saturday and then you come out a week later and then you forget day, time, everything. But yeah, they were born on the 26th of February, which was a Wednesday. Drea, how did I feel when I found out I was having twins? I was shocked. I was surprised. It's strange, right? Because we prayed for it, but you know those prayers that you just kind of pray and then you kind of forget about it. But then when it actually happened, it was like, wow, God is actually real. Like, not to say I didn't know that before, but you know when you feel it and it's tangible and the experience hits you right in your face, it adds another element to your faith. You realize that actually God does listen to what we ask for. Yeah, so obviously Richard talked about the dream to you guys as well. We saw it in a dream, we prayed about it, And then when it was actualized, it was like, wow, this is real. You know, God is real. Like, we can't actually play with the stuff that we say. God listens to everything and he does answer. Redeemed Righteous Girl, how do you find time for yourself with your busy schedule, being a mother, a wife, and a career woman? Again, I think that's something that I need to maybe try and go in to at length. It is very, very difficult. I've become a jack of all trade, or a dockass of all trade, shall I say. I'm all over the place, guys, but I try my possible best. If I'm going to do something, I try to do it properly. So if I'm going to go into the kitchen and cook or present a meal, I'm going to do it properly. If I'm going to feed my kid, I'm going to make sure the food is finished. If I'm going to bath my child, I'm going to make sure I scrub them properly. So I try my best with everything. When it comes to ministry, if I'm given for example, a preaching assignment, I will sit down, I will do my research, and I'll do what I can. And I think a very big element is my husband. He's very, very supportive. Wherever he can meet my needs, wherever he can be, he is there. He doesn't always feel this way. Sometimes he says that I feel like he has no use, which is not true. You know, when you get frustrated and you say certain things, yeah, we're all human and we do it. But I would like to put it out there that he is super supportive. He helps me out when I can't do it. He does it for me. And I think that really helps me to juggle my itinerary. Yep, the babies officially are called Kweku and Ekia. If you're Ghanaian, you would get onto that. It's to do with Wednesday borns, basically. Someone says, Frederica says her birthday is on the 27th of February. That's lovely. Thank you. What was Richard's reaction to the pregnancy and then having twins? I think very similar to me. He was super shocked because obviously, like I said, he saw it in a dream prior and it happened. We basically looked at each other and thought, oh my gosh, really? Like, it's changed our whole life. It's meant that we've had to buy 2 cots, buy a double pram, buy 2 of everything, basically. It's been expensive. Buy double the number of bottles, clothes, everything. You know, we were even recently talking about registering a birth. When you have to purchase birth certificate, you need to get doubles of everything. So it is very costly. However, we wouldn't have it any other way. We give glory to God for the gifts that he has given us. Grace, I love your question. Grace Tab, what time do you sleep? The answer is I don't sleep. I'm a night owl. At the moment, we film predominantly during the night, and I film during the night because I'm more productive at night. So yeah, I do slab on some makeup at 3 a.m. in the morning and film till about 6:30. The kids are very close, so we keep an eye on them. Whenever they wake up, we feed them, spend time with them, put them back to bed. Chelsea, how have the girls reacted to the twins? They love them. They're looking after them. They're being good sisters to them. Megan, how do you decide what to share on IMFL versus what's TMI? That's a very good question. Inside My Fishbowl Life was created so that we could be transparent, so that through our transparency, we could influence a generation of people. I think mostly, if it comes to me, I have no filter. That's the truth, guys. I actually have no filter. My filter is my husband. A lot of the things I'd say and he'd be like, no, cut, we're not putting this in there. I'm like, come on, show the people what our real lives are like. So it's all about striking a balance. Sometimes we have to negotiate these things. Do I have twins in my family? Betty, no, I don't. And that's why we strongly believe that this gift was from God, because Richard doesn't either. How do we prepare financially for the twins? From the moment we knew, we had to make some more strategic decisions about how we spend our money. Obviously, we've had to get a new car. I mean, when you have 4 kids, you end up with a 7-seater, guys. So new car, and obviously some of the things that I mentioned already that we've had to buy. Myself and Richard have always been quite frugal with the way we spend our money. And we are big believers of savings. So we made sure that we had a scheduler on Excel, which we'll share with you probably in another video later. And then we sort of do it to the T so that we have enough money left over. And when you've done that repeatedly over several months, you have enough to spend on whatever you want to spend it on. Shell says, I really enjoyed your special delivery video and how open you were with us all. Thank you, Sherry. What made you decide to share so much of your journey with us all? Again, it comes back to the transparency element. Even when we were editing it, we did have to cut some bits out. You didn't see like the full, shebang. Because like when the child, when you saw my daughter coming out, and she was in her sack, there was actually a bit of the video where my stomach was showing and the consultant was pressing my stomach to get the child out. And I thought it was a bit too explicit. Not that I didn't want to share it with you guys, but some people get a bit queasy when they see like bloody things and stuff like that. So we didn't show those bits, but we tried to be as transparent and as open as possible to benefit those who are watching. There's a lot of young women out there who, perhaps even mothers, they've had natural births, they've never had C-sections, or someone who's scheduled to have a C-section and wants to know what it's like. It helped me because I went on YouTube to view some videos. That helped to ease my anxiety when I found out that I was going to have a C-section. I mean, in a hospital, when they told me that that was going to be the only option, I had to resort to the Bible, reading scriptures, and also physically watching YouTube videos. So we documented it all, and we documented that particular part because it helped me. So I want to also help others, if that makes sense. How did me and my husband meet? Mimi, we met in church. I've known my husband since Sunday school. Silla, do you plan on going back to work? If not, how do you plan on generating income? Good question. I've already addressed about the going back to work thing. Because I've got 3 kids now under the age of 3, under school age, it's going to be quite difficult to go back to work as at now. How do we plan on generating income? We have several sources or streams of income at the moment. So for the last 8 months plus, I've not been to work. I don't earn any income. We only live on my husband's income. And I'd like to say that Minister's income is quite humble, but the Lord looks after us. And obviously those are the things that we've done has helped us. All those other streams of incomes that we have, property and things like that, which we've discussed in season 1 with you. Guys, I'll be asking questions in 5 minutes. Thank you, Shell. The whole plan with the Fishbowl Life is to facilitate the growth of other young people through transparency and a practical Christian life. Yeah. Betty, how do you lose your pregnancy weight? Are you doing anything active or does it go naturally? That's a good one. Okay, so with my first 2, especially my first one, I was quite young. I think I was about 23 when I had Tabitha. I don't actually know where the weight went. It went quite well, and I think it's to do with my metabolism at the time. I was young and all of that. At the moment, I'm not active because I'm not allowed to be. I need to be 6 weeks postpartum, have my 6-week check with my GP, and then when he's signed me off or discharged me, as they like to say, then I can start light exercises, obviously because I've had a major operation. But yes, I'd like to say that I minimize what I eat. So I do eat a calorie deficit. It's quite difficult when you've got twins and you're breastfeeding 2 babies at the same time. So as a result of that, I've not been able to breastfeed exclusively. I do combination feed where I breastfeed and bottle feed as well. So yeah, that way I'm able to eat less and lose the weight without necessarily being active. How much of a priority is it for you to get that quality time out with Pastor Richard? It's very, very important. It's to do with my love language. Quality time is my second biggest love language. So it's important for me to have some quality time and be able to get out with it. Stay tuned because that love languages video will be coming out to you guys soon, where we explain to you what the 5 love languages are and how it is for us. So yeah, I'll be asking you guys some questions. So for season 2, what did you guys like about my videos? What did you guys like about my videos in the last season? What would you like to see more of, guys? Can you put your answers out to me? What would you like to see more of? As I mentioned, season 3 starting on Sunday. And while I'm waiting for you guys to tell me your answers to what you liked about the other season, what you'd like to see more of, can I just plug that on my Instagram? I have Inside My Fishbowl Life Instagram page. Please go and follow me. Please go follow me. Guys, come on. Because I will be coming off in about 5 minutes because my babies are crying. There is someone out there, by the way, but it means it's time to have some mummy love. Okay, lovely. People want to see more of the ministry side of my life. Good one. They want to hear more about the love languages. Thank you. That'll be coming out soon. More on disciplines in a Christian walk. That's a very good one, Mimi. Thank you. Pamela says the family element. That will all be coming to you in season 3. Jackie says delivery video was the best. Thank you for that. I think obviously that was like the pinnacle, guys. I'd been away for 8 months, so I needed to hit you with something interesting. Transparency. People want to see transparency. Betty says it's easy to think being called into ministry is boring. Okay, so you want to see more of like the ministry side of things. That's good. Scylla says she'd like to see more interview type of videos. Okay, I hear you. I'm not really a good interviewer, but let's see. More of ministry. I think ministry is coming through quite a bit, so I might need to get Pastor Richard on board with that as well. Sometimes he gets a bit shy, guys, believe it or not. Okay, people want to see more Christian content. Lovely. Do you guys like the talk tos though? Because I don't think that it's as popular. Initially it was, but then I feel like it tailors off. So can you talk to me, guys, very briefly before I come off? People want to see more women content. Thank you. Hot topic discussions with pastors such as marriage and family. Thank you. Money management tips, Megan. Ministry side, how we deal with relationship issues. Thank you. Home management. Okay. Is that like cooking and stuff, Hillary? Women and modesty. Thank you, Elizabeth. No long breaks anymore, please. All right, Pamela, I hear you. I'm going to try. Videos every day, Samuel. That's not possible. Okay, and vlogs. Thank you so much, guys. I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to try and answer as many of your questions as possible. I hope I've been open enough. Thank you so much for joining me. I've really enjoyed it today. Please let me know if you want me to do more lives and answer more questions like Q&As and lives on maybe my life and maybe get Pastor involved as well. I really, really appreciate your well wishes. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already. Share my videos, like my videos, comment on the videos. We're working on obviously getting your comments responded to as well. And I really appreciate your following, guys. So until Sunday, I'll see you guys soon. And take care of yourself in this season. Stay home and save lives. God bless you.